want to talk to you this morning. Did you know that the only thing trouble is meant for is to be turned to triumph? Yes. Did you know that? Yes. It don't sound like too many people know that. What's wrong with you guys? Trouble, the only thing it's meant for is to be turned to triumph. How many of you have had some trouble or a tragedy in life, or simply may have just took the wrong path? Anybody done that? Maybe it's the fault of your own or someone else's. You know, this happened to Joseph in Genesis. Although Joseph's brother tried to get rid of him, they wanted to get rid of Joseph. They were jealous. They didn't like him. They wanted to get rid of him. You know what? God used their evil actions to bring good. God turned this trouble to triumph. Amen? You know, Joseph, he was sold as a slave and taken to Egypt, where he became what? A ruler. See, his trouble was turned to triumph. He was sold as a slave, but he became a ruler. He saved the lives of his family and brought deliverance to all the people of Egypt by providing food during the famine. Amen? You know, Joseph realized that this was God's plan. See, Joseph was a smart man. He could have had a pity party. He could have played the blame game. He could have held unforgiveness. Amen? But Joseph was a godly man. He was a smart man, and he realized that this was God's plan. Instead of being angry or unforgiven of his brothers, you know what he tells them? He tells them that this was God's plan in Genesis 45, 5 through 8. And now, do not be distressed and do not be angry with yourself for selling me here, because it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you. See, he's telling them, yeah, you thought this was your plan, but really this was God's plan. God sent me ahead of you. For 2 years now, there has been a famine in the land, and for the next 5 years, there will be no plowing and reaping. But God sent me, again, he's telling them, ahead of you to preserve for you a remnant on earth and to save your lives by a great deliverance. Amen? Listen to this. So then, it was not you who sent me. The third time, he's telling them. Sometimes we're a little slow, right? God's got to tell us more than one time. Anybody besides me like that? So then it was not you who sent me here, but who? God. But God. He made me father to Pharaoh, Lord of his entire household, and ruler of all Egypt. Wouldn't you say that's trouble to triumph? Yes. Amen? No matter where you are in life, no matter what you've done, listen, it don't matter if you've took a wrong path. If you think you've made a mistake, and you don't let the enemy tell you, too late, you've messed up. You'll never get off this path. You'll never get off this road. How many of you that have children in here, if your kid called you and said, Mama, I'm lost. Daddy, I'm lost. I don't know where I'm at. I've made a wrong turn. What would you do? Would you leave them there and say, sorry? No. You'd either tell them, you'd get on your GPS, or you'd go after them and find them, wouldn't you? Well, we serve a good, good Father that knows where we're at. Sure, we may have been lost. We may have taken a wrong turn, but he knows exactly where you're at this morning. And he's a good, good Father. And he knows how to get you on the right path. He knows how to turn your trouble to triumph this morning. Amen? Amen. Amen. Don't let the enemy make you think you're all alone in a prison, because God, again, he knows your name. And he knows exactly where you are. And he is able to deliver you. Amen? Amen. We must be willing, though, to forgive either ourselves or others, just like Joseph did to his brothers. Listen what Joseph did in verse 14 on down in Genesis. Listen to this. Then he threw his arms around his brother Benjamin and wept, and Benjamin embraced him weeping. He didn't hold unforgiveness. He didn't say, well, you did that, I'm not helping you, you can starve. He didn't do that. What did he do? He embraced them. He wept with them. He threw his arms around them. It's time we forgive, and it's time we embrace, so God can heal us and deliver us and, again, move us from the prison to the palace. Amen?